Sign up at the end of this review to get my personal gear list. Hey folks, this is Tony from the Acoustic Letter, and I am trapped in a J45 sandwich. Let's try that again. Hey folks, Tony here from the Acoustic Letter. Today we're going to compare a Gibson J45 True Vintage to a Gibson J45 Standard. But before we do so, I will encourage you to click the link below and sign up for the Acoustic Letter. On to this very interesting comparison. And I say interesting, not because the guitars look vastly different, because as you can tell, they certainly don't, but because they sound very, very different, even though they're made of similar components. First, let me go over the comparisons. These guitars are both J45s. They both have rosewood fingerboards with dot inlay. They both have rosewood bridges, and they're both made by the folks at Gibson. Now, for guitars looking almost identical, that's not a long list of similarities. So now let's get into the differences. The J45 True Vintage has an Adirondack spruce top and Adirondack spruce bracing, while the J45 Standard, here in my right hand, just has Sitka spruce top and Sitka spruce bracing. The J45 True Vintage has yellowed binding to simulate age, and the J45 Standard has pure, brand new, clean white binding because, well, it's new. It's not supposed to simulate an old guitar at all. The J45 True Vintage also has a buffed satin finish, which simulates some age on the guitar's body, whereas the Standard does not. You'll also notice on the headstock that the Gibson J45 True Vintage has an old-style, banner-style headstock, while the Gibson J45 Standard has just the regular old Gibson inlaid in pearl. Also, you'll notice that the tuners are different. The Standard features the Grover Rotomatic tuners, while the True Vintage has vintage Kluson style 3-on-a-plate white button tuners. These guitars, again, though they look very similar, are incredibly different in sound. Contributing to that, not only is the top wood difference, but the J45 True Vintage has bone bridge pins and a bone saddle, as well as a bone nut, while the Standard has a tusk saddle, standard plastic bridge pins, and a tusk nut. So what we're going to do is give these guitars a play back to back so you can hear the difference between the Gibson J45 True Vintage and the Gibson J45 Standard. Go to acousticletter.com now and email us with your questions. For more acoustic reviews and comparisons, click the button to subscribe to our YouTube channel.